My role, my name is LoCicero. I'm the Vice President of HR for New View Alliance. We're a nonprofit company in the Western New York area. We support child and welfare agencies that have been around for a long time. As I think most people know on this call, oftentimes in nonprofits, one of the resources that can be tightest is the human resource, the person that's there to help answer questions. One of the things that we found is that we have a need to better train our supervisors, especially employees that maybe get promoted from within. They often find themselves maybe not as comfortable or prepared to have difficult conversations that maybe addressing things with team members that work for them. So one of the things I thought, we recently got our paid license with ChatGPT, and I had seen and read up a little bit on the ability to actually kind of do some role playing with ChatGPT and the different AI resources. So that's what I did. And I wanted to demo a little bit of how that conversation went, of putting myself in the role of an employee maybe not as comfortable, who has to have a tough conversation with someone who's maybe not performing. So I had the chat ready to go here. So basically what I started with for my prompt was, I need some help having a difficult conversation regarding performance. I've been a supervisor for only 6 months. I don't feel comfortable having these conversations yet. The particular employee that I'm going to be having the conversation with tends to become defensive, raises the voice, and oftentimes will use profanity. Can you help me prepare? Just kind of started very basic, and got a great response immediately from the AI tool there, that kind of, before you even go into it, this is the stuff you need to prepare for. So first thing they listed, clarify your purpose and kind of walk through the things, what do you, helping you get down to the point, getting this person down. What are you going to be talking about? What performance needs to change? Making sure you're clear, prepare the content of the conversation. So going ahead, being prepared, anticipate any defensiveness and de-escalate. Again, that was based on the prompt that I put in. So setting boundaries, pausing to reset, stay calm and even tone. So started off with some great tips before even getting into any type of role play or any type of environment there. Talked about the environment, keeping the conversation structured, and then follow up and document. From there, I offered to help drafting a sample script. And then I asked for, could we practice going through the conversation together, as a way to do like a role play. So the AI responded, which was interesting. I've done this a couple times. This was the first time that the AI tool actually wanted to play the role of the supervisor and had me play the role of the difficult employee. The other times I had done it, it had been, the AI tool was responding as the difficult employee. So I thought this was a little bit more unique. I got to be a little bit more descriptive. And the AI tool was then very much able to kind of help and coach on things. So the AI tool took over as the supervisor. Thanks for taking the time to meet today. Wanted to check in on some things, and then had me type in the response. And I kind of, again, started off a little bit as how I would anticipate maybe an employee who's frustrated, doesn't want to be in that conversation. I got, some compliment from AI there. And then the AI talked about how they would handle that type of a response, and keeping things focused, making things better, not about pointing fingers. And then actually went on to, I didn't prompt it at all, went on to just kind of role play a specific issue, that during a meeting, you raised your voice, you used some profanity, you made some other team members feel comfortable. And again, this is something that can be common sometimes in the workplace. So then I did my further response there. And again, was intentionally being difficult and hostile there. So, use some raised voice there, use some name calling a bit, talked about doing more work than others, and kind of push that through. And again, got some great feedback from the tool there about staying realistic, and then gave some great prompts from what the supervisor would say. So what I really like throughout this is that there were a lot of opportunities to kind of learn, take notes. And as I was going through this, I was looking at this and saying, this is a great resource, because we as a very limited HR team aren't always able to be everywhere. We're spread out through the Western New York area. So could we use something like this to coach a new supervisor? Hey, why don't you try prompt? Why don't we maybe sit and do it together at first, of maybe walking through a prompt, but then preparing them to be able to use this as a way to prepare themselves for difficult conversations when the limited human resource team may not always be available. And that was kind of, again, one of the biggest draws our company, as we are looking into HI, we're looking to try and be more efficient in everything that we do. That's obviously one of our biggest objectives. And could this be used more as a training tool, even on top of the fact of simplifying tasks? We're looking at this as, could this even be used as a bit of a training tool? So we continued on the conversation. Again, I kept kind of going on about playing, a difficult employee. What I also liked is we got further on, we actually paused the conversation and started talking through maybe some things that might come up, some powerful phrases for difficult conversations, gave some tips on things to say to keep boundaries by being firm but also calm and still expressing that you're listening, clarifying intent, showing fairness. And then even looking at the body language, how do you present yourself in that situation to keep the situation calm, to still get things done that you need to do? So thought this was very all-encompassing. And then it also offered to give me a printable cheat sheet, which I took advantage of, which was really cool. And kind of, something that a leader or supervisor could have on hand at all times, just kind of go over things when they feel things might get difficult. So I took the printable cheat sheet, downloaded it, which was great. Then I asked for a further help, just, hey, could you help me close out the conversation? So again, the tool gave some great tips for how to close the conversation by reaffirming, being clear, offering support where appropriate. Gave some sample closing scripts, which I thought was great, even to kind of just better prepare someone who maybe not feel as comfortable with that, to really drive home the message. And then at the end, I even asked about, what happens, how should I respond if maybe things start to get a little hostile, or things, maybe where I start to feel uncomfortable with the way that the employee's responding. And again, there were some great tips, how to recognize flags of hostility, maybe how to respond to them, to diffuse the situation, when to maybe remove yourself from that situation. So again, thought it was very, very all-encompassing. And again, this generated in a matter of moments, which was really, really cool. So at the end of the day, that was kind of what I walked through for how I'm looking at it from my point of view. And an HR rep, we're oftentimes trying to dissuade problems and fix issues, and be a resource there for our employees. And this is maybe one way that we can help empower our team members and our managers and supervisors, using a great tool to help their learning and help improve their ability to do their jobs better. We could be the ones that can kind of push them and drive them to use this tool for their education. So that was kind of where I landed.